Well, coming to the last part of this topic, we have seen so many topologies. So, which is the best one for your network, right? So, there are so many issues. Like you can see, you must think about the length of the cable which is required to be connected, the cable type because there is coaxial cable is there or fiber optics cable is there. So, depending on the kind of bandwidth you require, you have to go for the cable type. The entire cost of the network is one factor that is very important, and scalability, adding the nodes and removing the nodes, how easy it is. So depending on these four issues, you can choose your topology. So cable length, first of all, is very important because more the length of the cable, more is the likelihood of getting faults in the cable, and then there are issues might arise. So cable length is a very important issue. Yet another issue which actually indirectly affects the cost of the network, the cable length, how it actually, if you see the practical examples, then the cost of digging, depending on where you are deploying the network, depending on what kind of land you have, what kind of soil is there. So cost of digging is more comparable with the cost of cable and the cost of devices. So the cable length plays a very important role in deciding the reliability of the network on one hand and the costing on the other hand. And in this particular issue, the bus and star topologies are the simpler ones because they require fairly lightweight cabling. But if you see mesh networks, though the reliability in terms of the device connection is good, but the cable length is also more, and in a way, it affects the cost of the network, and the network becomes labor intensive. Another important factor is the cable type because so many connectivity issues now these days. Because of course these days there is a more trend towards the wireless networks, but considering the throughput, wired networks are having more throughput and they can be preferred because they have proven over the period of time. So there exist different cable types like coaxial cable is there, twisted pair cable is there, and fiber optic cables is there. And the issue is the twisted pair or coaxial cables. They are basically insulated copper or copper-based cables, while the fiber optic cable is predominantly the glass tubes or plastic-based cables. Okay, so if you see the weight and other factors, then actually the fiber optics is a very good choice. Mm, And the twisted pair cables, they are actually cost effective, but they have less bandwidth than the coaxial cables, right? And of course, you need to consider the connectors also. Fiber optic cables, they are very high performing. They are having a very huge bandwidth. So these days we are talking about gigahertz and terahertz networks. So fiber optics is the best choice, and they can transmit the data at a very high speed because basically light is the carrier. So you can see that you get more bandwidth as compared to the other options like twisted pair or coaxial cable. And secondly, in olden days they used to be little expensive, but if you consider the overall cost of the network, then the fiber optics backbone is a very good choice as far as the backbone is concerned. And then the individual connectivity can be given by using the coaxial cables or the twisted pair cables because there are standards like cat 6 cat 7 and so on. So we'll see those things in detail in due course of time. So basically, the cable type plays also a very important role in choosing the topology. Okay, so this is another factor. The third factor, as we discussed, the cost, of course, is a very important issue. The installation cost is important, uh, but more than that, the maintenance cost is important. So depending on the kind of budget you have, you can go for the topology which best suits your cost, and then the bandwidth usage and other factors like latency is also one of the most important issue. So in this way, the cost plays a very important role in choosing the topology. Okay. And another thing is that scalability. The scalability is your network keeps on growing, And since when you conceive the idea of putting a network, there might be few number of users, but as the number of users grow, the scalability factor is very important. How easy it is to add a user, add a node, or how easy is to remove the node. So both the sides. So there the scalability is important, and we have seen that as far as the topologies are concerned, star is the very easy, very flexible for addition, removing, altering the nodes. You don't have to bring down the network for adding the node. It can be done on live mode also. And on the other hand, other side, ring networks, they are very difficult to, as far as the scalability is concerned, because the entire network has to be made, put down whenever you want to add a node or remove a node. And another, so these four issues we have already considered. So how to map the network topology in a practical scenario? Suppose if you are designing a network, then there are a lot of tools, and these days it is not done manually; it is done in a automated kind of manner, and there are a lot of tools are available. Topology diagram plays a very important role. Whenever you visit the system administrator's room, you might see a topology diagram which is there, and this diagram is a ready reckoner for get to know the kind of network you have and how it functions. Because whenever the troubleshooting part is there, you must have a bird's eye view of the network, so that you will come to know that where what can go wrong, or where what kind of maintenance is required. So this is very important for monitoring, upgrading, replacing, adding, deleting the nodes, all these things. The network topology diagram is a very important reference tool that you must have for the network. And for this, as I said, there are tools. For example, Microsoft Visio is there, or any other tool like the Lucid Chart. So these tools are there. So these tools facilitate you to draw the network diagram. You can very easily draw the network diagram, and you can map the network. So these are the network mapping tools, and you can save your time with these tools. Many of them they come with a limited free version with limited number of nodes. But if you want to have a full-fledged uh, kind of tool, then you must pay for that. So that is the arrangement. Uh, so this is very important even from other things like security point of view. So security is very important, and sometimes knowingly or unknowingly, the end user might add their device to the network. So these tools they will help you to check all those things, that who is adding the device, and what kind of how the network is being used. So at it one, like this screen, you can get to know all these things on one screen. Okay, so the configuration part is can be done automatically by using these tools, and the troubleshooting part also, because how the data flow happens, what is the latency, then where the data congestion is taking place. So depending on that, you can play with the network topology, and you can correct the things. And so this is important not only from design point of view, but also from the practical usage point of view. This is a very handy kind of arrangement for the network administrators. So it's very important. So what I would like to say is deploying the network is important, but more important is the upkeeping of the network. So the troubleshooting and the daily maintenance of the network is a very, very important issue. And there are these tools, they will help you for this. Another important thing is network management softwares exist. So this network management software, they will basically help you to actually see how the network functions. So they can keep track of the things, they can troubleshoot the issues, they can point you that where the network is likely to fail. Even these days, predictive kind of intelligence has been put in these tools, and they will help you to find out where there is likelihood of occurring a fault in the network. Such a tool is network topology mapper. You can just Google this network topology mapper, and you can also download the free version and just go on playing with this tool so that you will come to know that how your network works. This looks like uh, this another tool, solar wind network topology mapper. So the screenshot shows how the interface looks like. So you can see your entire network from your screen itself, and you can check the functionality. You can monitor the data flow. You can see the latency between the nodes. You can actually troubleshoot the network. So all such features they are possible, and these tools they are great help for the network administrators to upkeep the network. So with this, we are ending this important part of network topologies, and I hope you can download these tools and you can keep working on this so that you will clearly get an idea regarding how these things works. So thank you very much for this.